Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Thursday, December the 8th, 2022. Very, very slight adjustment to the labeling here on both the S&P and the NASDAQ. I'm going to begin on the hourly chart. Everything prior still remains exactly the same. I'm still viewing it the same way, and I am still leaning towards the high, which would have been the December 1st high at 4110, is the finishing of not only a C wave, but the intermediate wave 2. And that being the case, we are in the very beginning stages of that intermediate third wave. Now, just to review very quickly, yes, this third wave is going to be powerful, but we're going to reach its most powerful section when that intermediate third wave drops into the minor third wave, which we would expect to subdivide again within itself, and it may do that several times. So while we are in this initial stage, yes, we're going to see the selling, and yes, it's going to be very tradable, but we're still going to get the bounces. We're still going to get the rallies. And even when we're down inside that minor third wave up the intermediate third wave, we will still get rallies. But they're going to come in a different form. And let me tell you what that is. Since we're now impulsing lower, the trend is down. I'll be looking for formations of 5 waves. They'll be labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5A, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minor 1, etc. So we're in an intermediate third wave down, consisting of 5 waves of minor degree. Within that first wave of minor degree will be 5 waves of minute. So we've switched from counting ABCs back to counting impulse, which is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as long as I'm going to remain inside that, it should be indicative of where we're going and how we're getting there. Now, granted, this C wave consisted of 5. This is bigger, and yes, they do count similar, but we're in a larger third wave, and that's breaking down into its own 5. Within that first one, we've done minute 1, 2, and 3. Now, I had left it off last night that this was actually the subminute third wave low, and that this was forming a triangle, and that the B wave was forming the triangle, and we should thrust higher. What happened is that we didn't. We came down and we tested that low. And so I looked, and I saw it yesterday, but I allowed the benefit of the doubt that there was still a 5th wave to come, which there is, but I thought a 5th wave to come within this minute 3. So back to the count, 1, 2, 3 here, 4, 5, still very classic, still very clean. And then we have that subminute 5 to the minute third. Now we are inside still, but it is a minute 4th wave instead of a subminute 4th wave. So it's a little bit bigger, as you can see, but still following pattern. Now, let me see if I can pull that open just a little bit more, and we can take a look inside. So we've got the A, very strange B, but that is a triangle, but it did settle down. My apologies to the subscriber who actually told me that, but they were feeling that the whole triangle did down, and I thought, nope, it would just be the B wave. So really what had happened here was that this B wave completed, or the triangle completed at the close yesterday. So on the reopen in Globex, when that finally got kicked in, boom, we got that thrust out of it, and then we started the C wave. But you can see it's a little bit bigger, since this was a 2, that would have been a very small 4, and so it had to be resembling that for the 4, somewhere in there, and it did here. So minute degree, 4th wave, A, B, 1, 2, probably 3, 4, maybe one more trip up. Maybe we get to 39.90. A lot of talk going around. I think people still would love to see 4,000. I don't know why, but that's what the talk is. Numbers are numbers and levels are levels, but I'm sure there's big positions that can go on or off right at that level. Is it possible? Yeah, it is. They can go up and visit that. I don't want it to come above that level, actually, and I don't even really want it to come above that level. So these two supports or resistance now, as we are coming back up, I think should stay in place. But we have the hourly 200, and that's the EMA right here at 39.90. So I'm looking for the ABC to come up into that, and then actually that we come down. But again, it's just going to be a minute degree fifth wave. So again, how am I going to put some parameters around that? Well, we always would then use the extensions, Fibonacci extensions. And we go from the top of wave 2, which would be the start of wave 3, actually. So the top of wave 2, the start of wave 3, down to the bottom of wave 3, up to, and I'm going to call it here. It may go a little bit higher, but we're just doing estimates right now. So if that high holds and we turn and we start to head lower now, fine, then we'll count this ABC up. We'll put the 4 there and we'll be looking for this to be forming 1 and 2 coming off. We will see. But if it does stop there, where can we go to? First thing I'll do is I can take out that. And so we make it very clear. We have our first support at 39.37, which happens to coincide with the SMA, but it's the 50 period SMA here at 39.44. It should just maybe provide a pause, but when the selling is going to be stronger, it'll go through it, maybe bounce back, bounce around it for a little bit, but it should continue to push lower. That break should open the door for a ride down to 39.12, 3900. So that wave 5 would look good at 38.92, but where the true, I think, stronger support will come to complete a minute fifth wave. Again, all has to do with structure. If we're able to count 5 down and they're clean, and we can get to 38.71, that is a level where it is not uncommon for a fifth wave to come in at about 62% of that third wave. Beyond that level, if that doesn't hold, we have 38.57, 38.43, and the 100% level is at 38.06, 38.07. And that really kind of goes down to 37.95, which is the little bit larger retracements for or support levels for the beginning stages of this wave down. So, in fact, let me go see what that is, because I think they should come in larger. Yeah, it actually would be for that third wave. And we were looking for much lower levels. So I'm with that in mind. So where we have ultimately this fifth wave can come down to within this area. And then we're going to put that in as a minor wave 1. So again, we're coming off in 5 waves of minute degree to form minor wave 1 of 5 needed. 5 waves of minor degree are needed to complete the intermediate wave 3. We're in minute wave 1. We're in minute wave 5, hopefully, of minor wave 1. So we're still in that minor first wave. And that is the potential, and that is where those areas are coming in right now. So ultimately, yeah, 3800 down to 37.94. So that's kind of the zone. 3806 down to 37.95-ish, a little bit below me. This I'd like, or a little bit above, because it can really stop anywhere in here, but we're going to be looking at structure. First off, though, before I get carried away with that, we now need to just leave open. I'm going to take those off again, right? So you saw how I did it. I used the extensions. I go from the beginning of wave 3 to the bottom of wave 3 to wherever this fourth wave tops out. Could be here, could be a little higher. You click it, you're going to get your levels coming off. Counting that as the high gave us the levels I just talked about. Now, I want to put in back up so we can take a look. The retracement levels for this fourth wave. Because again, that's really what I think we are still. Oops, wrong. I didn't want to do that. Oh, I had it. Excuse me. I'm going to get it together. And we're going to do it down to here. Okay. So the 382 is 39.77. We've been up there twice. Above that, we have a 50% level right below 4,000. So you see that it really is possible. And I don't normally look for a fourth wave to go to 50%, particularly not this level, particularly not in an impulse down, but it's there. But more likely, we might give it a good shot. It's only 22 points away. And that would come in at 39.90, which is where the 200 is. So, but again, anything above 39.78 is the ticket. But even though the buying did seem like it was pretty intense today, it was more concentrated in some of the bigger, the big tech titans, basically. We had Apple up, we had Amazon up, we had Meta, Microsoft waffled around at the opening and finally kicked into gear. NVIDIA was the big winner today, up 10.50 on actually a downgrade, but an upgrade. And we'll see. And also there was some news, very, fractal type of a report. In any case, it was up strong. And now we've got tomorrow's expiration. And that's what that number is all about. The news, no, it was just adjusting positions for tomorrow's expiration and forcing the adjustment moving into next week, which is the last monthly expiration. So it's going to be a big expiration next Friday. So I think we're going to see, when you're talking about year end buying and or selling, we're going to see a lot of that, I believe, next week, because I think a lot of positions are now in place to come off next Friday. This Friday, next Friday. So tomorrow could be a very volatile day in both directions, to be honest with you, because we're seeing this battle. Are we going to see that they're going to try to close it out at 4,000 because that's where the positions are? I think that battle comes next week, to be honest with you, because that's where those larger positions are wrapped around. The 4,000 strike right there. So we'll talk more about that as we move into next week and it's becoming clear as to what they may try to do. I think that that's what does pause the selling. But if the selling picks up again because it's time to get out, and then add into that tomorrow's expiration, we could get a stronger down day. And we're looking for that in the form of a minute fifth wave. But that minute fifth wave could be, these are hourly bars, and there's plenty to trade when it does that. If you get that tomorrow, we'll all have a good day. All right. I take that back. I don't mean to sound glib. Day trading, and in the future, you could possibly have a very good day if it's directional. All right. Going over to the S&P. Going over to the NASDAQ. How about that? Can you tell it's been a long week and I still have one more day? All right. Blowing this guy up too. Same deal. Moved it over. Boom. It is always more pronounced in the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ always gets itself really wrapped in. Like this sell made it look like, oh, okay, this is all over. And we're now going to go and put down that fifth, which is the original way I had this labeled. But when it stopped on a diamond, it just went and went and went and went and went. And then went above that high. I'm like, okay, well, that's done with that. So I reviewed, I readjusted, and this just becomes a little bit bigger. Correction, still an ABC. It is still an ABC, gained its power, but it needed to get itself up to this level. And actually, it likely wants, although may not make it, I was really believing today it needed to get itself to 11,700, which kind of puts that 200 right in the hood. So the whole deal of it getting up there was very real today, but then it kind of just tapped out. We had a nice sell hour. They bought it back up into the close. After, we're kind of beginning to see the sellers move back in as they settle all out for the day. Count remains the same. I did actually put the 2 here. I have not done it in the S&P, but I thought I'd be bold and I put it on the NASDAQ. It always seems that there are times when I've done that with the NASDAQ and the next day says, oh, no. We're going to show you what we're going to do. And that would be perfect because that's always what I do look for. I allow the market to tell me instead of me trying to tell the market. I'm one person sitting in San Francisco. I doubt I have that much power. In any case, I still believe 1-2. I now think that's going to be the minute 3. Yesterday it was the sub, looking for one more down. No problem. We sort of got a little bit, not even equaling or creating a new low. So that was the B wave triangle. And then we got the C wave in behind it. And then I moved it to the subminute wave 5 right there, which was nice. Perfect. And the minute 3. Now we're in the minute 4A. Again, the B into the C wave. I think we could be done. There is that possibility. So we open that up and we can just take a peek on the inside. That's A, B, 1, 2. This was strange. Let me just kind of throw it up here on. No. Studies, no style. That's what I want. Down to the line chart. So we kind of get 1, 2, 3, maybe 3, 1, 2, 3, ABC 4, and a little 5. It's still unclear, but I'm taking it that they're not done. The hug on the 4, the hourly 4. It's like, okay, we still need to, we got to break below that. We got to break below the 8. We got to break below the 55, which is because I changed them. Break below the 21 because I upped it. I'm trying to smooth them out a little bit. Seems to be working. Adding that one little factor in. It keeps it in a fib pattern too. In terms of this, actually, if I wanted it to be true fib, it should be either 3 or 5, right? Because let me see if I did that. Oh, I left it as the 4. I should put it down to a 3 because then what we're dealing with is a 3, 8, 21, 55. So, okay. Now, bringing that back. So we got to leave it open to see where it wants to go. Upside, we have 11,668, and that actually goes up to 87 now, which was today's high. So the zone, but you can see how close. So that still remains that we go up, we give a test to 11,700, maybe pop above it, maybe get up and give this a test. We cannot, or I cannot rule out 11,745. I would like to. I'm much more interested in the downside because you can see once we get back into a correction, see, it gets what I might call, boxy trading. It's a box. Quick down, quick back up, down, quick back up, same, quick up, down it goes, quick up. So it ravels or it just trades around a particular level. And today it was the moving average right there. The 4-period moving average. Hugged it all day, above and below it. Closing on it right now too. So tomorrow we have PPI Final Demand and Consumer Sentiment. PPI Final Demand comes out at 8:30 Eastern, and Consumer Sentiment comes out at 10 a.m. So the market will be open when that comes out. And as I often do, I will remind everybody in the morning in the trade room and then have to go, oh, what was that? And then go, oh, yeah, consumer sentiment. Often it is much better when you're thinking that you could get a bigger swing in either way. And with the mood and with the expiration and with just what people can do, I will be flat. I will hope to be flat around both. So there are times when I'm up and I'm trading. For me in San Francisco, it's 5:30 in the morning, but I will be up and I'll be looking at the market, of course. But that number, remember, it's always that later one, the 10 o'clock one, because I'm into the opening and I'm paying attention and suddenly you forget, oh God, there's a number. And you might be in a position and suddenly you get a downdraft or you get an updraft and it can really affect your positions. Okay, so what I am looking for here is a minute 4th wave. We have potential for a little bit more to the upside. From current levels, we could go up another 60, 70 points from here. But as we know in the NASDAQ, easy street. It shouldn't have a hard problem doing that. So let's keep that in mind. We'll look for that, and then for the market to turn, start heading south. Again, expiration tomorrow also affects NASDAQ, of course. So I do expect it to come into play, and a lot of it will roll around Apple, Amazon, AMD, Google, Intel probably, but it usually doesn't move around quite that much. Meta for sure, Microsoft for sure, Netflix for sure, NVIDIA for sure, maybe even Tesla. So we got a lot of stocks that when they start going and they do it in unison, like they're all going to get pushed up to a higher strike, fine. Or they're all going to get pushed down to a lower strike, no problem. It has a bigger effect on these indexes because of the index, the weighting in the NASDAQ, of course, and in the S&P. Apple is the heaviest weighted stock in both the S&P 500 and in the NASDAQ 100. So when it really gets itself going and it's directional, then it's going to happen in the index as well. And that would be both. Rarely is it all by itself, so I would think they're going to be hitting more than just that. All right, so let's take a look at downside. So I'm going to take these off, and we're going to take a look by using the extensions. Now, in the extensions, we're going to be, because I'm looking for the wave 5. I will use that high for right now, understanding that it may have to get bumped up 20 points or so. Because ultimately we don't have that marker in place yet because the market is still active within that wave. But we're going to call it right there. So these are just slight indications. So first up, we have 11,533, but that is just a pause, and that's because the 50-period SMA sits right there. Continuing down, we have 11,440. 11,363, but the one that we start to look at is the 62%, which is 11,286, 87, 290. You know, all in that hood, plus or minus, is fine, works out very cleanly. Now, what can happen if it breaks through that? Well, then we have 11,230, 11,180, I'm going to say, down to 175. Ultimately, it could reach this 100%, where wave 5 would be equal to wave 3. That comes at 11,040. Now, that would be nice. Not necessarily what I'm going to be expecting, because remember, as I just said, for the S&P, it also is effective for the NASDAQ, that it's going to be the structure. I'm looking for 5 waves. They're going to be sub-minute waves. We had them in the 3rd. I expect them in the 5th. Not quite as big. Now, they can be, which is why we have that 100% sticker down there. But 5th waves are normally not as long or as strong as a 3rd wave. But within the context of the NASDAQ and the S&P, we have been noticing, or I have been noticing, that they are as strong or can be stronger. So be on your toes. All right, so those are the levels for the minute wave 5. Once that is complete, and it could take all day tomorrow, or even into Monday, so we don't know, that will complete minor wave 1 of intermediate wave 3, and we still have 4 more to go. So here's the breakdown. Wave 1, then you get a wave 2. Wave 2 corrects wave 1, then you have 3. Wave 4 corrects wave 3, then you get a 5. So there it is in writing. You get a 1 and a 2. Then we got a 1. Wave 2 corrected 1. Wave 3. Wave 4 corrected 3, not by much. And then we had a 5th wave. And then the entire sequence, because of that, is also corrected in a little bit larger ABC. In this case, we label it 4. So that's the breakdown. That's the inside story. This is what we're looking for. And the moving average continued to, this one's gone flat again, which is acknowledging the rally and that it's not moving lower. We have the 50 EMA kind of put on the brakes about midway overnight. And then when the buyers started to move in, it went flat as well. The SMA, not as sensitive as this, took a little bit longer before it flattened out, but now it is also flat. These also provide support now because they're flat. This would provide resistance because it's flat, but it still sits at 11,714. So we still can get up to that level, even with it being flat. Well, I'm not going to necessarily look for it to break it. It may exceed it, but I think it should probably hold because it is flat. All right, I'm going to leave it all there. And the next update will be on Sunday, the 11th of November.